ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुक्तापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे
Krishna.
हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So welcome to IBC Siksha. Um, we'll continue from Bhagavad Gita 18th chapter, the last 5-6 slokas, maybe 6, I think it's 78 or 79. So now that Krishna has told that, you become my devotee, surrender unto me. And then he gave Falashruti also, meaning those who study Bhagavad Gita will become dear to Krishna, will achieve pure devotion service. They worship Krishna with their intelligence. If they distribute Bhagavad Gita to innocent people, they'll become great dear friend of Krishna. So after this, Krishna asks a question to Arjuna. Just a minute. Okay. So he asked this question: O son of Pritha, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with alternative mind uh, and are your ignorance sorry and attentive mind alternative not attentive, have you heard this with attentive mind and are your ignorance and illusion now dispelled? So like a teacher, he'll ask at the end, did you hear with attentive? Is your ignorance illusion now dispelled? And he is already told, yatha ichchasi tatha kuru. Do what you want, deliberate on this, and then do what you want. Okay, someone read the purport.
Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
The Lord was acting as the spiritual master of Arjuna. Therefore, it was his duty to inquire from Arjuna whether he understood the whole Bhagavad Gita in its proper what is perspective. If not,
Perspective.
the Lord was ready to re-explain any point or the whole Bhagavad Gita if so required. Actually, anyone who hears Bhagavad Gita from a bona fide spiritual master like Krishna or his representative will find that all his ignorance is dispelled. Bhagavad Gita is not an ordinary book written by a poet or fiction writer. It is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Any person fortunate enough to hear these teachings from Krishna or from his bona fide spiritual representative is sure to become a liberated person and get out of the darkness of ignorance. Hare Krishna.
So Bhagavad Gita will remove us from ignorance and give us liberation. Okay. Now what does Arjuna says? Okay, this is 73. No? This is a very nice verse. Arjuna Vacha Nashtamoho Smritilabdha Tvatprasadanmaya Sitosmi Gatah Santeha Karishya Vachana Tava. Karishya Vachana Tava. I will do what you say. I will do what you say. So this is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. I'll do what Krishna says. My dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory. By your mercy, I am now firm and free from doubt, and I am prepared to act according to your instruction. My illusion is gone. I have regained my memory. Meaning Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna already knew, but Krishna made him forget. So therefore he's saying, oh, I remembered all this philosophy that you have said. And now I have become firm and free from doubt and am prepared to act according to your instruction. The constitutional position of a living entity represented by Arjuna is that he has to act according to the order of the Supreme Lord. Why? Because we are soul, we are part and parcel of Krishna, and our real interest lies in connected with Krishna. He is meant for self-discipline. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said the actual position of the living entity is that of eternal servant of Supreme Lord. Jivara Swarup hoy Krishnera Nityadas. But Krishna is a very nice master also. He's friend. He's proprietor of everything. We don't see such masters in this world, right? They will never be our friend. They'll always be bossing and exploiting us. But Krishna is friend. Surhit Sarva Bhutana. Forgetting this principle, the living entity has become conditioned by material nature, but in serving the Supreme Lord, he becomes liberated servant of God. Living entity's constant position is to be servitor. He has to serve either the illusory energy or the Supreme Lord. If he serves the Supreme Lord, he is in normal condition. But if he prefers to serve the illusory external energy, he will be in bondage. In illusion, the living entity is serving this material world. He is bound by his lust and desires. Yet he thinks himself as the master of the world. This is called illusion. When a person is liberated, his illusion is over and he voluntarily surrenders unto Supreme to act according to his desire. The last illusion, the last snare of Maya is to trap the living entity in the proposition that he is God. So this is the last trap of Maya. You may be on spiritual path and all that, but whole goal is to become God. We can never become God. We are always godly. We are part and parcel of God. The living entity thinks he is no longer a conditioned soul, but God. He is so intelligent. Sorry, he is so unintelligent that he does not think that if he were God, then how he could be in doubt. God means he's above everything, right? So if something is above us, forcing us, then that thing is God. How can we become God? That he does not consider. So this is the last snare of illusion. So that is illusion, right? Actually, to become free from illusory energy is to understand Krishna, the Supreme Person of Godhead, and agree to act according to his order. The word moha is very important in this verse. Moha refers to that which is opposed to knowledge. Actual real knowledge is the understanding that the living being is eternally a servant of the Lord. But instead of thinking oneself in that position, the living entity thinks he is not a servant and he is the master of this material world. For he wants to lord it over material nature. So our whole situation is we want to lord it over. We want to enjoy it for ourselves. But when we become servant, we see that all these things belong to Krishna, so we utilize everything in Krishna's service. And in that, there is enjoyment. It is not that we are devoid of enjoyment. We get enjoyment in serving the Supreme Lord. See, when the servants at home, if they try to enjoy separately from the master, then they'll be kicked out, right? But let's say, there's a party at the home and the servant is all engaged in cooking everything, 10 items are made. At the end of the party, will the servants also enjoy or not?
Yes, you will.
Yeah,
He
they
will
will
enjoy.
also enjoy, right? Because they'll also have one plate of prasadam with 10 items. Just like
Mm.
Krishna had, they'll also have it. So, a servant of the king lives like a king, right?
Mm.
Where the king goes, he's also given the same respect and all that, accommodation, everything. What the king eats, he also gets that kind of food only to eat. So, like that it is, right?
Yes.
So this is the so that's what we need to understand. Servant of Krishna is a very big position. But the word servant makes us fearful. Why? Because in this material world we have we have seen so many bad masters that we just don't want to become servant of anyone now. But if we try to become servant of Krishna, so how do we become servant of Krishna? By hearing from devotees, that how great it is to become servant of Krishna. Then we'll feel happy and then we'll say, okay, I want to become. Right?
Mm.
We are all sitting here in India. We hear about America, we hear about Europe, and then we think, yes, we want to go there. Right? Similarly,
Yes,
if we hear about Krishna, his servant, and how they interact, how Hanuman interacts with Lord Ram, then we also feel, yes, I want to become servant. Right?
yes,
Yeah. So Krishna consciousness is acting according to Krishna's order. A condition sold illusion by external energy of matter does not know that Supreme Lord is the master, who is full of knowledge, who is proprietor of everything. Whatever he desires, he can bestow upon his devotees. He is the friend of everyone, and he is especially inclined to his devotees. So this is a particular verse that Prabhupada is talking about here. Fifth chapter, last verse. Bhoktaram yakatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram survit sarvabhutanam yatva mam shanti vichyate. 5.29.
mm.
A person in full consciousness of me, knowing to be ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices, austerities, the supreme lord of planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities. Well-wisher, friend, attains peace from pangs of material misery. When he understands Krishna's own everything, and at the same time he is my best friend also, then he becomes peaceful, right? Like we may go to some place, and then we come to know this place is belongs to our friend. Then we become peaceful, right? Become happy. Hey, this belongs to my friend. We are not worried. If someone is trying to kick us out, we won't worry, because we know this is belongs to our friend, right?
Yes.
So like that it is. One who does not know him in the okay, so I think I missed something. No. He is the controller of this material nature and of all living entities. He is also the controller of inexhaustible time and is full of all opulences and all potencies. The Supreme Personality can give himself to the devotee. No master can do this, right? Does the many master give himself to his servant? No. Only Krishna can do that. One who does not know him is under the spell of illusion and he does not become a devotee but becomes servitor of Maya. Arjuna, however, after hearing Bhagavad Gita from Supreme Krishna Godhead, became free from all illusion. He could understand that Krishna was not only his friend but Supreme Lord. And he understood Krishna factually. So to study Bhagavad Gita is to understand Krishna factually. But a person is in full knowledge, he naturally surrenders to Krishna. When Arjuna understood it was Krishna's plan to reduce the unnecessary increase of population, he agreed to fight according to Krishna's desire. He again took up his weapons, his bow and arrow, to fight under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Karishya Vachanatava. So he picked up his bow and arrow, and then the war started. And then Sanjaya, he speaks next few verses. He says, thus I have heard, Sanjay Uvacha, thus I have heard the conversation of two great souls, Arjuna and Krishna, and so wonderful that message that my hair is standing on it. So many Krishna said, so many things Krishna said, right? So it gives us great pleasure. Okay, someone read the purport? Anyone?
In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Dhrashtra inquired from his secretary Sanjaya what happened on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The entire story was related to the heart of Sanjaya by the grace of his spiritual master Vyasa. He thus explained the theme of the battlefield. The conversation was wonderful because such an important conversation between two great souls had never taken place before and would not take place again. It was wonderful because the Supreme Personality of Godhead was speaking about himself and his energies to the living entity. Arjuna, a great devotee of the Lord, if we follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna, then our life will be happy and successful. Sanjaya realized this, and as he began to understand it, he related the conversation to Dhritarashtra. Now it is concluded that wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, there is victory. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Tatra. That is a verse, no Prabhuji?
Last verse. That's the last
Yeah.
verse. Yeah.
Yatra.
So, so this Bhagavad Gita is what? Is Krishna is speaking about himself. It is his biodata
Mm.
and his energies, and to Arjuna. This is Bhagavad Gita. It is his biodata. And Sanjaya was in Hastinapur, that is Delhi,
Mm.
and war was happening in Kurukshetra, which is in Haryana.
Mm.
And he could see all that because Vyasadeva had given him live telecast rights.
Mm.
So he could see. And he says this: by mercy of Vyasa, I have heard these most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who was speaking personally to Arjuna. Vyasa was the spiritual master of Sanjay, and Sanjay admits that it was by Vyasa's mercy that he could understand the Supreme Personal Godhead. This means that one has to understand Krishna not directly but through the medium of spiritual master. So Sanjaya could understand Bhagavad Gita by the mercy of Vyasa. So we will also understand Bhagavad Gita by mercy of spiritual master. And we are reading Bhagavad Gita through our Shiksha Guru. Who is our Shiksha Guru in this Bhagavad Gita? Who is teaching us Bhagavad
Oh,
Gita? Who is writing all these purports?
Vyasa, Vyasa, Vyasa.
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, yes. So Prabhupada is our Shiksha Guru. Even though he is not present, but by
But
reading his books, he becomes our Shiksha Guru. Okay, so by mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we are understanding all this. And then our Diksha Guru will also explain. We'll understand it again. Same subject matter. The spiritual master is a transparent medium through, although it is true that the experience is still direct. This is the mystery of disciplic succession. This is the experience is still direct, okay? This is spiritual mystery. That the experience is direct. Like somebody is watching India Pakistan match in cricket on stadium. That experience is different than watching on the television. That experience is different than hearing from in on the radio. That experience is different than hearing from somebody who came who watched that match and came, right?
Spend some time.
Yes or no?
She had to get. Yes.
But in Bhagavad Gita case, it is not like that because it is spiritual in nature. Na? It is not limited. See, spirituality is not limited by material limitations. Material limitations are there. Our eyes can see only certain things. Our ears can only certain music, certain frequencies. We can taste certain things, right? So there are always some limitations to our senses. But from when one spirituality is there, there's no limitation. Just like Bhagavad Gita is spiritual wisdom, the holy name of Krishna is also spiritual. So there is a direct experience of tasting Krishna when we say Krishna. Okay. So the holy name, the spiritual wisdom, all these things are direct. This is the mystery of disciplic succession. When the spiritual master is bona fide, then one can hear Bhagavad Gita directly. As Arjuna heard it, there are many mystics and yogis all over the world, but Krishna is the master of all yoga system. Krishna instruction is explicitly stated in Bhagavad Gita: surrender unto Krishna. One who does it is the topmost yogi. This is confirmed in the last verse of 6th chapter. Yoginam api sarvesham. I will just go there. I think 6.34. No. Chanchala Himana Krishna. I think it is 43.
Chanchalam.
47. 6.47. योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेऽन्तर आत्मनः श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां ये समयुक्ततममतः. Of all the yogis, One with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me, is most intimately united with me in yoga, and this is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So becoming a devotee of Krishna, he says that is the highest yogi. Narada is the direct disciple of Krishna and spiritual master of Vyasa. Therefore, Vyasa is as bona fide as Arjuna because he comes in disciplic succession. And Sanjay is a direct disciple of Vyasa. Therefore, by the grace of Vyasa, Sanjay's senses were purified and he could see, hear Krishna directly. One who directly hears Krishna can understand this confidential knowledge. If one does not come to the disciplic succession, he cannot hear Krishna. Therefore, his knowledge is always imperfect, at least as far as the understanding of Bhagavad Gita is concerned. So we have to be in disciplic succession. Then only we can hear the direct message. Now there are many who have commented on Bhagavad Gita. Like last time I told, one politician in Andaman Nicobar for about 18 years he went there, I think, and he read Bhagavad Gita and all. And the whole conclusion he made is to, Bhagavad Gita is to fight for our country. That was not the conclusion. So when we are not in disciplic section, we'll never understand that Krishna is the goal. There are many Gita conferences and all that, and there Krishna is never glorified. Once Prabhupada went to such conference and there was just a lamp, and then Prabhupada was not happy with it. He said, "You don't want Krishna, you want only Bhagavad Gita, then you will never understand Bhagavad Gita." Right? So, like that. So, from the whole of Bhagavad Gita, we have to know Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, all the yogic systems are mentioned: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. And Krishna is the master of all mysticism. It has to be understood, however, that as Arjuna was fortunate enough to understand Krishna directly, so by the grace of Vyasa, Sanjaya was able to hear Krishna directly. Actually, there is no difference between hearing directly from Krishna and hearing directly from Krishna's via a bona fide spiritual master like Vyasadeva. The spiritual master is a representative of Vyasadeva also. Therefore, according to Vedic system, on the birthday of spiritual master, the disciples conducts the ceremony called Vyasa Puja. So they worship the spiritual master on the same level as Krishna, God Himself. Like, O King, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure being thrilled at every moment. We are also feeling happy, right? Whole Bhagavad Gita we read. We are feeling happy, right? Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So we can understand, Sanjaya was also feeling so happy. We are also feeling happy. Whatever, little bit that we have understood. He
But
understood
he
great.
was seeing directly, no, Prabhuji, Krishna and Arjuna.
See,
They are
Duryodhan
not
was
able to
also
see.
directly seeing Krishna, but he didn't become devotee. So what is required to become a devotee? Let's answer this question.
You have to understand Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead.
Okay. Anything more?
And then surrender to him. You have to become servant of the servant of the servant of the servant.
Complete surrender to Krishna.
You have to be very humble
Okay.
in the
Anything
devotees
more?
also.
Why it is said the wife can only understand the husband and the husband can only understand the wife?
It's because of the love.
Yes. Now you got it. So, so in prem. Yeah. So this is the
Prema.
verse 5.38. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilocharena. Pure devotees see in the hearts of the hearts the eyes of devotion tinged with the salve of love. So when one loves Krishna, then he can see Krishna as he is, as Sham Sundar. And who doesn't love Krishna, they will see like how Duryodhan sees,
Mm.
where they don't end up loving Krishna. So love is important.
Mm.
The understanding of Bhagavad Gita is so transcendental that anyone who becomes conversant with the topics of Arjuna and Krishna become righteous, and he cannot forget such talks. This is the transcendental position of spiritual life. In other words, one who hears Gita from right source directly from Krishna attains full Krishna consciousness. The result of Krishna consciousness is that one becomes increasingly enlightened and enjoys life with a thrill, not only for some time but at every moment. At every moment, he is able to remember Krishna and the instructions, and therefore, he's like amazing. O King, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more and rejoice again and again. It appears that Sanjay, also by the grace of Vyasadeva, could see the universal form of Krishna exhibited to Arjuna. It is, of course, that the Lord Krishna had never exhibited such a form before. It was exhibited to Arjuna only. Yet some great devotees also saw the great universal form of Krishna, which is shown to Arjuna and Vyasa, and Vyasa was one of them. He is one of the great devotees of the Lord, and he is considered to be powerful incarnation of Krishna. Vyasadeva disclosed this to disciple Sanjaya, who remembered the wonderful form of Krishna exhibited to Arjuna and enjoyed it repeatedly. Just a minute, I'll just check one note here because it talks about universal form. What is it? 77. Okay. Just want to. Yeah. Okay. So Sanjay was remembering the universal form also and the beautiful two-handed form also. And Krishna showed four-handed form also. So all seeing all these beautiful forms, he was struck with wonder and he rejoiced again and again. Now this is the verse 78. We'll recite this verse. यत्र योगेश्वर कृष्णो यत्र
Krishna.
पार्थो धनुधरा तत्र श्री विजयोर्भूते ध्रुव नीतिर्मतिर्मम. Where there is Arjuna, where there is Krishna.
Victory is always there.
Krishna, the master of mystics and the supreme archer. There will be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. There will be opulence, okay? Both kind of opulence, material opulence, spiritual opulence. There will be victory, material victory, spiritual victory, extraordinary power, and morality. Now let's say somebody, puts this picture. I have this picture here in his home. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? There is some
It's a
confusion
good
people are.
thing.
How
Here
will
confusion is there. Here there's no confusion. The next one is no confusion. The first picture is confusion. I think it's the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita,
Okay,
and
okay,
this
okay.
one is
I think you didn't understand what I meant. There are some people who say that if we put picture of Krishna and Arjuna in the battlefield, then there'll be Mahabharat war at home. There'll be
Uh,
war,
yes,
fight at
even
yeah,
home.
I have,
yeah, they say
even
So
I
I am
have heard
asking you a
about it.
question,
not the true thing.
not a true thing. How will you prove this? You will cite this verse. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Tatra Partha Dhanudhara.
That's
Where
it.
there is Arjuna, where there is Krishna, there will be opulence, there will be victory, extraordinary power, morality. So therefore, you can have this picture at home. and there won't be fight,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
So people have this false
Hanumanji is on the
conception.
top.
Sorry,
Hanumanji is
what did you say?
Hanumanji is also there
Ah, Hanumanji is
sitting.
also there. So some people have this misconception that we cannot have this picture at home and all that. We cannot have Mahabharata, we cannot have Bhagavad Gita at home. You should say Bhagavad Gita, if you have, it is not different than Krishna Arjuna, and there will be what? Opulence, victory, extraordinary power, morality. Should not be worried. Okay. Okay. Someone read purport.
Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme martyr, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. The Bhagavad Gita began with an inquiry of Dhritarashtra's. He was hopeful of the victory of his sons, assisted by great warriors like Bhishma, Drona, and Karna. He was hopeful that the victory would be on his side. But after describing the scene on the battlefield, Sanjaya told the king, You are thinking of victory, but my opinion is that where Krishna and Arjuna are present, there will be all good fortune. He
Yeah. Yeah.
directly
Wait. Wait.
confirmed that.
Okay. He directly confirmed that Dhritarashtra could not expect victory for his side. Victory was certain for the side of Arjuna because Krishna was there. Krishna's
Yeah.
acceptance of post of charioteer for Arjuna was exhibition of another opulence. Krishna is the full of all opulences. Renunciation is one. There are many instances of renunciations. For Krishna is also the master of renunciation. So if you go back to the
First chapter.
first chapter,
Dhritarashtra Vacha.
huh, what is he saying? Dharma Kshetra Kurukshetre Samaveta Yutsava Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya.
Sanjaya.
First thing, what they did, my children and Pandava's children. So there is a separation. My sons and Pandava's sons. What did they do? This is Dharma Kshetra. This is a Dharma Kshetra. It's a holy place. Did it influence the Pandavas and they gave up fighting?
No.
And what is Sanjay replying? No, there will be a victory wherever there is Arjuna and
Pandit
Krishna.
Krishna that.
Yeah. So this is how Sanjay answered the question. Okay, read from here. The fight was actually.
The
Hmm.
fight was actually between Duryodhana and Yudhishthira. Arjuna was fighting on behalf of his elder brother Yudhishthira. Because Krishna and Arjuna were on the side of Yudhishthira, Yudhishthira's victory was certain. The battle was to decide who would rule the world, and Sanjaya predicted that the power would be transferred to Yudhishthira. It is also predicted here that Yudhishthira, after gaining victory in this battle, would flourish more and more because not only was he righteous and pious, but he was also a strict moralist. He never spoke a lie during his life. There are many less intelligent persons who take Bhagavad Gita to be a discussion of topics between two friends on a battlefield. But such a book cannot be scripture. Some may protest that Krishna incited Arjuna to fight, which is immoral, but the reality of the situation is clearly stated. Bhagavad Gita is a supreme instruction in morality. The supreme instruction of morality is stated in the ninth chapter. In the 34th verse, Manmana Bhava Madhbhakta, one must become a devotee of Krishna, and the essence of all religion is to surrender unto Krishna. Sarva Dharman Parityajya, Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. The instructions of Bhagavad Gita constitute the supreme process of religion and of morality. All other processes may be purifying and may lead to this process, but the last instruction of the Gita is the last word in all morality and religion. Surrender unto Krishna. This is the verdict of the 18th chapter. From Bhagavad Gita, we can understand that to realize oneself by philosophical speculation and by meditation is one process, but to fully surrender unto Krishna is the highest perfection. This is the essence of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. The path of regulative principles according to the orders of social life and according to the different courses of religion may be confidential path of knowledge. But although the rituals of religion are confidential, meditation and cultivation of knowledge are still more confidential. And surrender unto Krishna in devotional service in full Krishna consciousness is the most confidential instruction. That is the essence of the 18th chapter. Another feature of Bhagavad Gita is that the actual truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. The absolute truth is realized in three features: impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna, perfect knowledge, the absolute truth, means perfect knowledge of Krishna. If one understands Krishna, then all the departments of knowledge are part and parcel of that understanding. Krishna is transcendental, for he is always situated in his eternal potency. The living entities are manifested of his energy and are divided into two classes: eternally conditioned and eternally liberated. Such living entities are innumerable and they are considered fundamental parts of Krishna. Material energy is manifested into 24 divisions. The creation is affected by eternal time and it is created and dissolved by external energy. This manifestation of the cosmic world repeatedly becomes visible and invisible. In Bhagavad Gita, five principal subject matters have been discussed: Supreme Personality of Godhead, material nature, living entities, eternal time, and all kinds of activities. All is dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. All conceptions of the Absolute Truth, impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and any other transcendental conception exist within the category of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although superficially, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity, material nature, and time appear to be different, nothing is different from the Supreme. But the Supreme is always different from everything. Lord Chaitanya's philosophy is that of inconceivable oneness and differences. This system of philosophy constitutes perfect knowledge of the absolute truth. The living entity in his original position is pure spirit. He is just like an atomic particle of the Supreme Spirit. Thus, Lord Krishna may be compared to the sun and the living entities to sunshine. Because the living entities are the marginal energy of Krishna, they have a tendency to be in contact either with the material energy or with the spiritual energy. In other words, the living entity is situated between the two energies of the Lord, and because he belongs to the superior energy of the Lord, he has a particle of independence. By proper use of that independence, he comes under the direct order of Krishna. Thus, he attains his normal condition in the pleasure giving potency. Hare Krishna.
So amazing purport. Prabhupada has written very clear. So many points Prabhupada said. First is, let's see. First is that Arjuna is going to win. Duryodhana is going to lose. Dhritarashtra uh, is going to be sad. And this is the highest book in morality. Okay. Some say, oh, Arjuna
Right.
to fight is immoral. No. When there is injustice, when there is, we have to protect the weak from the evil, then we have to fight. So how come it is immoral? It is the right thing to be done. And if we do it as a devotee of Krishna, then that is the best. That is the supreme morality. Essence of 18th chapter is what? To become surrender unto Krishna. The path of regulative principles, social orders, different courses of religion may be confidential path. And to realize philosophical speculation meditation is even more confidential. But the most confidential is surrender unto Krishna. Important subject matters discussed. That the living entity, material nature, there are two energies of the Lord. The five topics in Bhagavad Gita discussed: Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. Um, and they're inconceivably one and different. They all are one, and at the same time they are different. The Jiva and Ishvara is one, but they're different. The Jiva can never become Ishvara. The Ishvara is Vibhu, Jiva is Anu. The Ishvara is small, Jiva is the Ishvara is big, Jiva is small, like that. Prakriti is energy of the Lord. Kala is energy of the Lord. Karma is under the direction of the Lord. We say my car and we are same, right? If someone else is seeing our car, then he'll say, that person has come. But actually, the car is moving. So at that point, the car and the person is the same, right?
Mm.
But they are not same. Like that it is. So they are related to each other. That is what is meant by oneness. Oneness means they are related to each other. Like husband and wife is one. They are related to each other, but they are different. Living entities are margin energy and they have independence. If they direct the independence towards Krishna, then they will be happy forever. Okay? Any questions? Any questions at this point?
So, what is the confidential knowledge means to surrender to Krishna.
Yes.
That is only.
Adi Shankaracharya, he has glorified Bhagavad Gita very nicely. We will take some of verses. Bhagavad Gita Kinchitadita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Kapita 21, 28. What he says, let a man read but a little from Bhagavad Gita, just like a drop of water from Ganges. Worship Murari just once. Oops. Then he will have no altercation with Yama. Does that mean we won't die? Or what does this mean? He will have no altercation with Yama.
There is no, because Krishna will take care of us.
Yeah. So if Yama comes, what is he going to do?
He won't be allowed
No, no.
to
If
touch us.
Yama comes, then he will take us to Yamlok. But because
Yeah.
we are devotees of Krishna, we are reading Bhagavad Gita, Yama won't come to us. 28. Yeyam Gita Nama Sahastram Deyam Shripati Rupamajasram Neham Sajjana Sange Chittam Deyam
Prabhuji,
Dina.
not coming. Prabhuji.
What?
Can't see the screen. Can't see the screen.
Can't see the screen. Okay.
Yes.
Half the words are coming, half are not coming.
Why like that? It should come actually. Now you can see?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hmm. 28. Regularly recite from Bhagavad Gita. Meditate on Vishnu on your heart and chant his thousand glories. Take delight to be with the noble and holy. Be with devotees, okay? Distribute your wealth in charity to the poor and needy. Which wealth is he talking about? Both kind of wealth, material wealth and spiritual wealth. Meaning distribute Bhagavad Gita to the poor, spiritually poor, and those who are looking for knowledge. This is another meaning of this verse.
So
Okay?
poor means not the poor, but those who are non
Those who
spiritually
are
poor.
poor means those who are poor fund of knowledge.
Mhm.
Not materially.
Yeah.
Not me.
But it also means that we have to give our material wealth in charity. It also means that also. Okay. But deeper meaning is, if we give it in, uh, if we distribute Bhagavad Gita like that. Let's see if there is some more. Gita Dhyana. Gita Dhyana. So there are a lot of verses on Bhagavad Gita he has spoken, of which we will read four. Sarvo. Can you read the? Can you see this?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Uh, Sarvo.
सर्वोपनिषदो
सर्वोपनिषदो गावो
उपनिषदो
दोग्धा
गावो
गोपाल नंदना
दुग्धं
पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर भोक्ता दुदुद्गम गीतामृतम महत.
गीतामृतं महत्.
Hmm. What does it says? The Upanishads are like cows, and Lord Krishna is the cowherd boy. Okay, the son of cowherd is their mother. Okay, Upanishads. Uh, okay, Upanishads are herds of cow, and Lord Krishna is the mother, and Arjuna is the calf. So if we bring calf to the mother, then the milk comes out, right? So therefore, the
Yes.
milk came out from Lord Krishna because Arjuna the calf went near Lord Krishna, and the wise man of pure intellect is the drinker. We all, we are all the drinker of this milk of Bhagavad Gita. Anything more? Let's just go through this. So it's glorifying Mahabharata also. Okay. Verse 5 is verse 5. Huh? Oh, okay. Krishna Ashtakam. So he has written another Ashtakam, Krishna Ashtakam. Okay. Uh, in Bhagavad Gita, we have few minutes. In the introduction, Prabhupada has pointed out certain verses of Bhagavad Gita. We'll just go through that. गीता महात्मा एकम शास्त्रम देवकी पुत्र गीतम एक देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मंत्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्मापि एकम तस्य देवस्य सेवा. एक शास्त्रम, let there be one shastra, that is Bhagavad Gita. Let that be एक देवकी पुत्र गीतम, एक देवो devaki putra. He doesn't even use the word Krishna, he says devaki putra, so that no one can be confused, because some confuse Krishna as something else only. So he says devaki putra, that Krishna was devaki putra. So we know that is, let that be the one personality. Eka mantrastasya namani yani, let Krishna's name be the only mantra, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And let there be only one word, that is service to the Supreme Personal Godhead. There are more verses here. We read this, Sarvod Upanishad. This is another form. One who drinks the water of Ganges attains salvation. So, what to speak of one who drinks the nectar of Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is the essential nectar of Mahabharata and is spoken by Lord Krishna himself, the original Vishnu. Gita su Gita kartavya. Kim anyah shastra vistare ya swayam padmanabhasya mukha padma dvinishrita. What this means? Okay, where this is what does this mean is Gita su Gita kartavya kim anya shastra vistare. We don't need any other shastra. Why? Because this shastra is spoken by Swayam Padmanabhasya. We have Padmanabh Swami. Krishna is that Padmanabh Swami. So he has spoken it, therefore we don't need anything else. Like that. Um, one may cleanse himself by taking bath daily, but one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges. Sorry, one may cleanse himself daily by taking bath in water. But if one takes bath even once in the sacred Ganga, water of Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. So all the dirt that we have accumulated, all will get vanquished if we take bath in Bhagavad Gita. How do we take bath in Bhagavad Gita?
By reading, understanding Bhagavad Gita.
Yes. Otherwise, we may have to put the book on our head and someone may think like that. In this regard, I'll tell you a story. When Prabhupada was there, at that point, some politicians came to meet him. And one devotee handed a Bhagavad Gita to one of the politician, Indian politician. Huh?
Mm.
He immediately picked up that Bhagavad Gita and put on his head.
She,
And he was, he then later on became the president of India. Gyani Singh.
Jail Singh.
Yeah, Jail
Jail
Singh.
Singh.
Yeah, yeah,
Jail
Jail Singh.
Singh.
Yeah. So he was the one who picked up Bhagavad Gita, put on his head because he gave Bhagavad Gita such a respect. In his own life, he became the topmost man of India, the president. So you can just understand what will happen for those who will study Bhagavad Gita, right? Okay.
Mhm.
So, any questions, any comments?
What are the probable questions in the exam, Prabhuji?
It is there in the document, na?
Yeah, that only we have to go through.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Because I am finding it difficult to remember, Prabhuji.
No, no. You just go through that and try to find answers. I will share the PDFs. Note it down.
No, you have already sent, Prabhuji, questionnaire.
I'll share the PDFs also. Some
Okay.
one or two PDFs I have to share.
Okay. And
Okay.
the link also he had said you will send
I
to
sent.
buy the Subodhini book.
Yeah, that also.
Yeah, he has already sent.
He has sent?
I have already booked.
Acha, acha. Okay.
Okay, so thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Now
Prabhuji, we would like to thank you very much, first of all, for your beautiful explanation.